real gentle. So, okay, chin up. Yeah.
Oh my God. I did it.
You're doing great. They're just,
Wow.
I'm not
good
going to hurt
job.
you, I promise.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. What was that? My main goal is to improve my posture.
Sure.
I walk 6 miles a day, and after about 2 miles, the right side, like
Of your back.
inferior to my rhomboids,
Okay.
starts to hurt. And so I'll go up against a tree and I'll like push to stretch this area out.
Okay.
And since I'm having surgery soon, I found that image
Okay. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
and I said, maybe this has something to do with it. I don't know.
Let me just back up. You're scheduled for hip surgery. Your left hip is, they said a superior labral tear, and I saw some lipping and spurring, arthritis of the joint.
And
Tell me
since
about
that time, it's gotten worse.
Okay. When did you first feel left hip socket pain?
In 2017, I finished playing pickleball and tried to get out of my car, and I couldn't.
Okay.
I had to use the side of my vehicle to help push me up.
Just after you played a game, first time ever?
Drove home, and I was like, what is that?
Okay.
And I thought maybe I injured one of the anterior thigh muscles.
Okay.
Went to my doctor, had the MRI,
Right.
and that's when he just said I had a torn labrum.
Okay, so let's say 7 years ago or so, the left hip is acting up. Give me when did you start feeling that pain? You said below your rhomboids on the right. How long ago was that?
That was prior.
So you felt that before 7 years ago. Can you give me an idea of?
Since 2010.
Give me one finger as best you can. Where's that pain?
On me or you?
On you.
It's right here
Yeah.
and in here.
Okay.
But here's the main area,
Okay.
right in here.
Sure. Rib. So there's the
Yep.
center, and then off to the
Yeah,
right.
right there, right where your finger
Sure.
is. Yeah.
It's what we call the rib heads. Those were the ribs attached to our rib cage in there. Anywhere there's a joint, there's a lot of sensors. There's a lot of position sensors, a lot of pain sensors. So you can put your finger right on it. It goes right there, right? It's right. You're on it, right on it. That's when it's a joint. It's a knuckle in there that's irritated. The joints are loaded with pain fibers. If you sprain a joint or injure a joint, what happens is the body's first response, and that's kind of what you're doing when you're stretching, is you've learned to just,
Exactly.
you understand, to what we call Antalgia. You're my poster child for Antalgia. You're going, Ed, if I've injured this joint, but if I go like this, I can get some relief.
Exactly.
Right? You follow me? This gets injured, we lean away, and now when you're playing pickleball, you're using this side more. Do you follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're abusing your left hip because you're in avoidance of an injury on the right side. So the posture, kind of what you said the first thing, Ed, I'm here to get my posture fixed. It's the posture that creates the injuries, essentially.
Maybe that's why I sit like this, because it feels good.
Right, it's another Antalgia. Your body's, when we round forwards, why elderly people are all, Quasimodo, we're taking stress off the joints, we're putting weight onto the discs of the spine, the discs have no feeling. And so these are common things that happen when your body's trying to get away from things that hurt. Your head's 2 inches forward. There's this rounded here, right? So it's common. It's not your fault. It's the fault of our world not guiding us in posture care. You didn't have Dr. Bo, my father, as your father, training me from, how is your back so supple? Well, because I've been adjusted my whole life. And I've been blessed with, when I had injuries, like when you had injuries, but I got adjusted right afterwards. I wasn't allowed to heal stiff. Does that make sense? So your body's had injuries, your head's gone forward. Now the ribs are popped up. We call it coupled motion. So the head goes forward, the ribs pop out. The ribs are loaded with pain fibers. Your body tilts, left hip goes high, heel lift in the shoe.
Wow.
Which is, now, I'm trying to now figure out to me, more what happens is because the right middle part of your back controls the left lower. So the health of this left hip comes from the functionality of this. And so because you've been in avoidance of this, essentially we're going to abuse this side.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Yeah.
All the work has gotten thrown. So now you're playing pickleball, I'm exaggerating, but you're playing pickleball with a left favoritism, right? So now your left hip is doing 60%, 65% of the work relative to your other hip, right? Because you can't say it's aging that causes arthritis because both your hip sockets are the same age, right? They can't, they try to say that. They'll say osteoarthritis. If you ask a medical doctor what causes it, they'll say, well, it's wear and tear, it's aging. Well, both your hip sockets are the same age, so why did you only tear your left one, right? It was the alignment. The alignment you were in was putting more stress on the left hip when you were doing activities, when you were running or walking or playing pickleball. This side was being overstressed, and that's why it tore. The alignment of even the hip socket, this is where I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm curious to see how difficult this is.
I can't do that.
Right, and at what point in your life did you lose this, right? If your knees are real high, that makes sense? They shouldn't be, somebody should have examined you at 20, 30, or said, look, you've lost your ability to externally rotate your hip. They do this in yoga, this way in yoga they'll do it. It makes sense, you're trying to open up this hip socket. Women typically, we sit, cross, if you do a lot of cross leg, this internally rotates our hips. You follow me? And it's not ladylike to sit like, so we always sit like this. Do you understand? The hip is rotating inside. It's not externally rotating. That's why you can't do the butterfly stretch. You understand? That's the opposite of this, is the butterfly. I'm really good at this, Ed, but I'm not good at externally rotating. So what happens is, part of that hip socket is under more stress because the hips are rotated in, then you're playing pickleball and doing activities with an internally rotated hip. You follow me? Right, and that's what caused the labral tear. Nobody wants to go down the path of how did we get here? How did we tear this labrum only on one hip? You follow me?
But not on the other.
But not on the other, because they're both the same age. It was the alignment, and then also
Wow.
there was nerve pressure. This is where nobody's taken an MRI of your lower back. There's been no MRIs.
Yeah.
There has been?
Yeah, I ruptured, my L4 and L5 bulged back around 2008, and I fell going up the stairs. I took a step up, and I think the bulge was on the left side.
Got it. Yep.
That's all I can remember.
There it is.
And I saw, it was so bad, I called 911, and they said, see if there are emergency chiropractor's offices, and I did.
Right.
I went to a chiropractor, and he healed me.
Yeah.
It was weird. He did something with the table like that,
Right.
and then I could walk.
Disc injuries can be, they're like cavities in teeth. We have to take stress off of them. We can change the posture, we can change the mechanics. Essentially, a disc injury is where the disc material is coming out and hitting this nerve. This nerve, especially the ones here on the lower back, these go to your hip socket, right? So the health of this hip socket, I don't know if it's falling out, but the health of the hip socket comes from these nerves that come out of your lower back. So Ed, 2 years prior to me feeling the rib, I got disc injuries in my lower back going on, and I'm being treated for a left herniated disc in my lower back. That left lower back disc injury is essentially what started the process of the hip not getting its nutrients. So think of like a plant needs sunlight, water, and nutrition, right? It needs fertilizer, water, and sunlight. If you take any one component away, the plant dies, right? And your tissue needs blood flow, right? Obviously, if I have a cut on my arm and I put a tourniquet right here, that cut will never heal, right? Because there's no blood flow, right? No matter what diet I have, if there's no blood flow. If I have a cut and I don't have any nutrition, my body won't heal it because I don't have the materials. But the least understood component is if I have a cut on my arm and the nerve from my neck that goes to this area is pinched, it won't heal very well either. You catch me? Right? So the nerves from our spine are just as vital for the health of our arms and legs as blood flow, right? So they might not have said you have avascular necrosis. Maybe you haven't heard that word, but
I have.
Okay, so there's something called avascular necrosis. The tissue will become necrotic, it'll die if there's no blood flow. Everybody understands that, everybody agrees with me and goes, yep, avascular necrosis is a thing. But it's the same thing if the nerve's pinched. As avascular, it's going to become necrotic. The tendons are going to become weak. The labrum's going to it's not going to heal well. Does that make sense? And it'll kind of like a plant with no water, just kind of wither and get crumbly and weak. Perfect. Help you a little sit up for me. A little sit up. Take one deep breath in, and then just let all the air out. Try to keep exhaling. Deep breath in. You're doing great.
Wow.
I got you. We're gonna do 2 more. Let it all go. I got you. It's okay.
Oh
Yeah,
my
one.
God.
It's okay. I got you. Here we go. Yeah, it's all frozen right there. It's okay. All right. Stay there. Here, breathe. You're good.
Okay.
Get the idea what's going on? We have a lot of reluctant vertebrae here. They moved, but I had to push pretty hard to get them to move. They should move very like butter, just effortless, right?
Wow.
And the top vertebrae gave me nothing. So we're gonna use my elbow in a minute. We're gonna go in there and massage it, and we'll unlock that a little bit. But you did great. My goal.
My earrings off.
You're perfect. Doesn't bother me. My goal with the neck adjustment is to restore the function of your upper cervical. So the domino effect is like this. The upper neck gets tight from our head being forward as a child, as a student in school. The upper neck gets tight, the lower neck overworks. When the lower neck overworks, the head goes even farther forward. That makes the middle back tight. That makes our lower back overwork. Does you follow me, right? So the goal of the adjustment
Oh my God.
is to loosen your upper neck and take the stress off that lower neck. Okay. Loosen the upper neck.
That felt good.
I'm gonna get you perfect. I'm gonna unlock you. Just turn it left. We're gonna massage here a little bit. There you go. There you go. They're just joints. They're nothing. There's nothing scarier than the knuckles in your hand. If I asked you to bend your fingers, no one would. That's not possible. That I can't do that. Right? They're just joints, right? Your finger knuckles in your hand are designed to bend just as much as the knuckles in your neck are designed to bend. What happens is it's easy for us to live our lives with something like 80% of our back not really showing up to work. And we utilize 20% of our back to do 90% of the work. And therefore, that 20% that's doing all the work ages at a very fast rate. And then our world has the gall to say that they're diseased. And I go, no, those are the mechanically healthiest part of your back. Now they've been abused, right? If you chewed only on the right side of your mouth, the teeth on the right side would get all worn out.
Right.
They're not diseased. It's just that's where you've been chewing, and that's where you've worn out your spine.
That makes sense.
So part of your spine hasn't been chewed on. Part of it's been chewed on excessively. My goal with all of this is to leave alone, to tiptoe and focus our work and care on the young parts and ask the question that no one's asked, which is, how have they stayed young, right? How has part of your back not aged? They didn't tell you that, right? Nobody told you
Right.
that 80% of your back looks the same as it did when you were 20. Well, they kind of failed to mention that. Everybody's been talking about my L5 and my L4 and my
That's a
left,
great analogy.
right? Well, how did they not age? They didn't age because they weren't working mechanically, and it was easy for you to lose the function. The vertebrae that are on vacation don't complain. They're on vacation in the Bahamas drinking pina coladas. They're having a good time. And my job is to go to the Bahamas and get on a plane and get back to the assembly line. And I got too many analogies. Okay,
I love the analogies.
It's restoring function. There you go. Same as the lower back. Your neck is supposed to have a curve in it. Lordosis, which is a Latin word for arch or curve. The neck is supposed to be curved. We develop this curve in the first year of life, and we lose it we didn't even know we lost it. We didn't know it was supposed to be valuable. And unless you had Dr. Bo or, somebody like my dad, taking care of you from a young age, it's easy to lose our curves and not be aware of it and not know the significance of what we lost. And
Yeah, I'll never forget that video of the two of you.
no. My dad, yeah, exactly.
He's just like, oh my God.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Picked my legs up and bent me backwards.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you have the same vertebrae in my opinion. Does that make sense? Unless you have a rod in your back, right? My point is that we all have the same vertebrae, right? But why can't I do that, Ed? Well, because you don't have your whole spine working as a team. The only way to
Right.
do that move is you better be dang sure the whole spine's working. Otherwise, you pinch one vertebrae, right? If part of your
Right.
back doesn't move and part of it's moving excessively, that adjustment can hurt somebody because they might bend too much in one spot, and therefore that's why I don't do it. If I have to first evaluate if a person's ready for it, I'm not going to do it to you. Don't worry. My point is that is a more advanced adjustment, and it's a you better be sure the whole spine's working so that we have an even. But it is a very good adjustment for people that can handle that depth, and so. Yeah, these knots up here are not good. All this tightness up here, all that doesn't belong there.
I didn't even know it was tight there.
We don't feel the parts of our back that don't work.
Jeez.
The sensors are all based on motion. So we don't feel. I didn't notice that was sore until you touched it. Little baby adjustment here. No, it's your first time. Real gentle. Real gentle little baby adjustment here. Yeah, I know. I'm going to go deeper in a second, but my point is that.
Oh, this is good to go deeper.
Just a little baby adjustment. You're doing good. It's okay. Real gentle. It's okay. Chin up. Yeah.
Oh my God. I did it.
You're doing great. They're just,
Wow.
I'm not going to
Good
hurt you,
job.
I promise. They're just joints. They're designed to bend. And it's their lack of function up here that starts this whole domino. And if I can't help you get the upper neck working, get that curve back in your neck, there's no reason to be here. I'm wasting your time and money. You understand? The whole point of this office is to help guide you in restoring that curve, right? But we can't have the curve if your neck is all stiff. And my neck is stiff because I didn't even know that was sore until you touched it, right?
Right,
You didn't even
right.
know it was. You don't even know these joints are supposed to be working up here. All right, real baby adjustments. Okay. Let it go. All right, a little bit deeper there. You go. Perfect. All right, you did great.
Dr. Ed, I forgot to
Please.
tell you, I had shoulder surgery
Okay.
in 2005 and 2007.
Okay.
The left was a subluxation, and the right, my acromion process, had, what's it called, debridement, bursitis, something,
Okay.
and they had to shave it.
Okay.
So I just wanted you to
Okay.
know that.
Okay. Yeah, those are all wrapped up together with the head and shoulder. The more forward the head goes, the more pressure on the nerves that go to your shoulder, the health of the shoulder, the more the shoulder rounds forward to alleviate stress on those nerves, which then puts the shoulder in a position where now you can stress out the acromion, stress out the AC joint, all those
So
structures.
when you ask me to put my right hand back,
Yep.
that's going to be challenging.
Okay, no worries. There you go. You're doing great. Yeah, it's kind of disproportionate. For as much as the joints are loaded with pain fibers, there is a lack of pain sensation in the disc. So they're almost exact opposites, right? So one half of your spine, extremely sensitive. The other half of the spine, no sensitivity. I can't give you an explanation for why that is the way it is. It just is. It's just the way it's made and the way it's designed. But with that understanding, we have to realize that there's always going to be a drift to move weight off of the sensitive structures. And what is the effect of that? Well, the non-sensitive structures eventually get destroyed. The disc herniation, disc bulges that happen in society happen because we have no feeling in the disc, and so we're not made aware of what we're doing that is hurting those discs until they're so damaged that they're hitting nerves. Our world doesn't really do health care. We do illness care in America.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's healthcare would have been, hey, let's try to get you, like the orthodontist, let's try to get your teeth in a better alignment. And if you think about it, it was stretching that made our alignment worse to begin with. And so it's stretching that fixes it. It was stretching that made it wrong in the first place. Sitting, driving,
Yeah.
spending hours rounded forward is what made our posture shift out of the right position. And so it's what we call mirror image stretching. We go to the opposite of what we're used to, and then we have to
Right.
hold you there, and that's how we fix it. We have to hold you in the opposite of what you're used to. And so the same way we arrived is how we're going to leave. It's the same path, just backwards. It's like rewinding a VHS tape. People on YouTube, what's that? I'm teasing. It's going to be a day where, VHS, huh? Yeah, we used to have to, please be kind, rewind at Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
People aren't going to know what that means.
That's true.
Rewind.
I still have a ton of VHS tapes.
Getting closer to finding it. There it is. Lactic acid is cellular exhaust. So just like a car produces, well, some cars, all the electric cars maybe not, but just like gasoline, internal combustion cars produce an exhaust, your cells produce an exhaust, and that exhaust is called lactic acid. The whole purpose of breathing oxygen is actually to convert lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water, and we exhale the carbon dioxide, and we call it cellular respiration. The cells hydrate themselves through breaking down pyruvate or protein or fat or sugar, and we make energy. And so if an area is so stiff, it doesn't get good blood flow, and so the lactic acid doesn't get converted. That makes sense? It gets stuck in the tissue. The acidity, surprise, surprise, like leaving love bugs on your paint of your car,
Yeah.
eats away at the paint. And so the acidity in here will irritate the nerve endings and create pain. And so your body will go, it just doesn't, it hurts. It hurts right there, Ed, fix it. And to me, it's like, love bugs. It's all right in here. Mm-hmm. You're doing great.
Is it from overuse?
Right, well, this is being over by injury, that's unresolved injury, and then protection, which then prevents it from repairing itself. But this happened because of this. The
Yeah.
head is the controller of the thoracic cage. The more the head went forward, the more this responded. So it's not this area's fault by itself. There we go. All right. Doing great. But yeah, this is what you've been trying to lean away from. And as we confront it, it will get smaller, and then your desire to lean away from it will go down. That's how we're going to address it and ultimately fix it. All right. And this is the channel that goes to your shoulder right here. This is two birds, one stone. As we push this in, I'm going to try to bring your shoulder back, right? So at the same time that we're bringing the chest into alignment, we're going to bring the shoulder back into alignment. I know you've already had shoulder surgeries. I'm just saying, if I caught you 30 years ago, there could have been some hope to not even get to that point. But again, we live in reactive care. Whoa, there goes the power. We live in a reactive care world. Scary. It's not even Halloween yet. I got you. It's okay. Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. What was that?
Yeah. You've never
Jeezy peasy.
You've been compressed your whole life.
Oh, my God.
Nobody's ever opened you up a little bit.
Jeez.
I know. Like I said, the
Wow, that felt great. I've never had that done before.
Show me what you can do. If you can try to do both at the same time.
This is all I can do.
How much pain?
For a hip?
For your hip, yeah.
None.
None? Okay.
None.
All right. You've lost less internal rotation on your right hip, and notice your left one, you really can't, it's really high relatively, but that would be your goal, is to, so let's try taking this leg straight. Let's do it one at a time here. Right, you take this one, and then you start working on, makes sense, stretching that open. Makes sense? Like you're trying to open up that hip socket. A little painful?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would do this two birds, one stone while I want to show you this in a second. The goal while you're on your back down
Maybe
roll.
it's not painful. Maybe I'm just scared.
Okay. The goal is you want to work on
Oh, wow.
while we're getting the curve back in our spine, we can work on your hip sockets. You follow
So
me?
you're opening me up? Is that what
Right.
this is for? Okay.
Right.
Oh, my
Breathe,
Lord.
Breathe. Okay. Put these arms to the side. There you go. You have to start working on
That feels good, actually.
arching back. This device is meant to emulate my thumb or my elbow, right? So just as my elbow is pushing on your back, this is the neck version, but they're meant to be emulations of my hand, right?
Okay.
So you use these as a portable elbow. It's the best clone that I have of myself that you can use at home to copy and to put pressure to stretch the front part of your body open. So because we've been bending forward so much, the front has never opened up. You catch me?
Yeah.
Right? So we have to actually stretch chest open to get the back to go in. Head back, you got it, and take a little nap. Yep. Perfect. You're molding the curve back in your neck. And so sometimes I'll take my hand and I'll take it on my forehead and I'll press. Right? So try to get your head to sink in, right?
Okay.
And then you'll put your hand back down and try to see if your neck will stay there.
Okay.
Right? It's like pressing a piece of clay into a mold, right? Initially it doesn't want to do it, and then you have to keep kind of helping assist it to mold to the curved shape. All right, you did great. Any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you had a little sheet with it. Was there anything else you wanted to ask me? I had
If there was, I don't have any more.
well, we can talk off camera, but